right, let's head on. Let's
Definitely.
head on over to entertainment. Let's talk a little bit about Disney. Disney's been in the news a lot lately. You know, they reported about what was it, 122 billion loss in market value in 2022. And the news just keeps coming in. Says that Disney loses another 4 million subscribers from their streaming platform. Now they've got some a number of things happening over there, right? The writer's strike, as it mentions here, they're laying off about 7,000 employees worldwide, right? They've lost a number of in a couple of movies that they've made, they haven't earned as much, and in some cases they've lost. So let me ask you this: is this because they can't? They were using the excuse because of C-19 before, right? You can't use that excuse
Right.
anymore.
Right.
The almighty, the all knowing Biden has officially ended C-19 here in the United States. So you can't use that excuse. What do you think is causing these issues for Disney?
I mean, it's clearly the message that they've been, or messages, I guess, because they've been putting a few different things in there, but it's clearly the stuff because they own so much now, and they are doing it in all of their properties. You know, they started out with Star Wars and Marvel, and whatever else they own. I've kind of stopped paying attention. I don't want to consume that stuff anymore, so I don't even know what they're putting out these days because I know they've been doing those live action remakes of their classic cartoons. They probably have some other properties I'm not aware of, but I know that in every single one, regardless of what it is, they're putting not just leftist agenda, but specifically gay agenda, LGBT agenda, alphabet agenda, and and it's Disney, so it's on kids. And there's been video leaked of the director of entertainment. I think it was the director of television, entertainment television, because Disney has movies, they have TV, they have video games. And the director of their TV entertainment branch said that she has a quote not so secret gay agenda. You've probably heard that. That's like been something that's quoted a lot. Yeah. So I think that that's where it's coming from. Is you got, just like we were saying with with Bud Light, with Miller Lite, people, once they start catching on to this stuff, they're going to see it everywhere. I think that's something they didn't count on when they were putting all this stuff out, is that it would be a domino effect. And you know what? I didn't even really count on that. I kind of just thought, oh, they're mad at Bud Light, they'll boycott Bud Light, and then they'll move on. But I'm seeing a domino effect because people are seeing it everywhere else. So yeah, with Disney losing a bunch of subscribers and not doing so well, I've seen that they've been canceling Star Wars projects left and right. I think some Marvel projects are starting to get canceled now. It's just not looking good for them, and they only really have themselves to blame. I mean, it goes all the way back to the Don't Say Gay. You remember that when they were taking part? That wasn't even in the bill, but they were taking part in spreading that whole. They're telling us not to say gay. They took part in that, and that was kind of where they first started getting some pushback from the public, the general public, and not just people who were, plugged into the current events and know what was going on. But now, yeah, like I said, they're canceling Star Wars project. In fact, just today, just like a couple hours before this live stream, I saw the news that that big park, the Star Wars experience, Star Wars Galaxy experience, whatever they call it, where you go and it's like you stay in the Star Wars hotel, and they're shutting it down permanently, shutting it down.
And that's new. They just built that not too long ago.
Yeah. I think it's only like a year or two old. It's barely been there. It wasn't even around long enough to get dusted.
I was so excited about that stuff before, all this woke garbage came out. I enjoyed Disney. I like going. I enjoyed Disney movies. I had my daughter, my baby daughter, watching like Beauty and the Beast the other day, just to relax her. All the classic stuff, right? That was so innocent back then. And I look at it, and honestly, I'll be truthful. I felt a sadness in my heart to know that a company that was so good, so wholesome, I grew up on, has turned into something so perverted. So the hyper focus on children, the specific targeting is very, very alarming, very concerning. And I called this out back in 2016 on my personal page, and I got attacked by some people for it. And I didn't even say anything bad. All I said was, guys, it's very clear Disney is injecting this stuff in there. So make sure if you're a parent, you watch it before you allow your kids to watch it. That's all I said. and it was like, "Rawr," you know, I got some pushback. But let's read real quick here from Forbes. It says, it suffered its second straight quarterly decline during the first 3 months of the year, shedding 4 million subscribers. That came after a 2.4 million drop in the final quarter of 2022. Up until then, Disney Plus had never suffered a subscriber loss, but more could be ahead as Disney deals with the fallout from losing streaming rights to the India Premier League cricket games, which had aired on the Indian version of service Disney Plus Hotstar. Indeed, all those losses could be attributed to India, where subscriptions were off by 4.6 million. Disney Plus saw a 300,000 subscriber loss in the United States and Canada, where the service now has 46.3 million subscribers. So worldwide, Disney has 157.8 million subscribers, second only to Netflix, but that's well off the more than 163 million Wall Street had been anticipating for this quarter. So they've got a lot of subscribers. It's a drop in the bucket for them, but the fact that they've gone on their second straight decline, which they didn't have any before, could be an indicator that people are they're tired, and this is their way of pushing back to, like you said, I'm just not consuming it anymore.
Exactly.
Now, mentioning Netflix. Netflix has been in the news just these past couple of days for their version of Cleopatra. Have you heard about this?
I have heard about the Cleopatra backlash.
So apparently this got like what, a 1%, between 1%, 2% audience rating on, what was it, Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. And the reason why is because apparently they chose to go historically inaccurate, and portray Cleopatra as being black. Now, the left has been race swapping for quite some time. You and I both know this as being comic book superhero fans. They've been race swapping for a while. And the left's argument, or part of their argument, in spite of the representation, was that it's just a fictional character. What are you getting so upset about? It's not a real character. It's not a historic character. Okay, so now we have a historic character that actually is being race swapped. And what's the excuse now?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
They don't have one. It's very clear what they're doing. It's become incredibly obvious, not just with the race swapping thing, but what the actual goal of the race swapping thing is, which is not even. It's sort of race, but it's color is what it comes down to. Because I want to bring up the Lilo and Stitch that was like a couple weeks ago. The live action Lilo and Stitch, the first few actors were announced that were being cast. And the thing about that is they were to be, progressive or whatever. They cast actual Hawaiians. They didn't cast like a Latino person that looked Hawaiian or an Asian person that looked Hawaiian or whatever. They got actual people from Hawaii, actors from Hawaii to play these parts. The thing about it is, though, is that both, because it was I think the older sister and her boyfriend, or I don't know, I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but in the movie, in Lilo and Stitch in the cartoon, the way that the skin color is shaded or colored or whatever in that cartoon is like, they're pretty tan, and I've been to Hawaii, and I mean, there are some tan Hawaiians, but I mean, Lilo and Stitch, they were some really tan Hawaiians.
Yeah, they have my dad's complexion.
Because most of them are.
They have my dad's complexion.
Yeah. Most of them are more. It's more of like an olive skin. And I feel like they just get tan real easy or something. Because I'll try to get tan, I stay pale. And they just, man, they'll get tan. I'm like, man, they got nice skin. So, but that's the thing is they have a whole range. You'll see some fair skinned ones and everything, right? So my point is that when these actors were shown, when they were revealed, they were really fair-skinned, especially the girl. The guy was more like medium, but the girl was really fair-skinned. But they're both from Hawaii. But the people flipped out, man. They flipped out. I don't know if you saw it, but they were flipping out on Twitter and saying, that it's racist and whitewashing and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, whoa. The characters are from Hawaii. We did what you wanted, because you say that only people no more acting, right? Even in voice acting, they only want black people to voice act black characters now and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like, this is what you guys wanted, is that only the ethnicities and only the genders and only this can play all these parts. We can't even do acting anymore. So we did what you wanted. We went to Hawaii and got a couple Hawaiian actors. Oh, but they're too light. Oh, so the real problem is it's not about race then. You want darkness, you want black people. And so it's very like it is still racist, but it's also colorist, which is like, even it's like racist but going like Super Saiyan. So like, I don't even know what was wrong with these people, but that's sort of, you know, to go with the Cleopatra thing, that's what it is. It's not about race, because see, they try to argue, oh, she's from Egypt and Egyptians are black. Dude, she's from Greece. Like, do you not know your history?
No, they don't.
Do you not know what Greek people look like?
They don't.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
They
saying?
don't.
And so it proves that it's not even about race. It's all about just presenting black people, because black people, there's different races of black, you know, they come from different. I hate how black people act like they're just this monolithic thing, but then they want to in the same breath say there's no such thing as white culture. And it's like, well, there's no such thing as black culture either. You have like Caribbean culture, you have you know, African, you know, Zimbabwe, you know, you have Black American culture, but like you're no more a monolith of a people than white people or any of the other people that you shout down. You know? But
you're absolutely correct, because even with Hispanics, we're all different. We're you know, yeah, we can speak the same language and communicate, but you go to every country is going to have its different nuances, different foods. Like the food in Cuba is extremely different, like the food in Mexico. They're not alike, obviously, and the food in Mexico is going to be
and Spain is very different from Mexico.
Correct. It's very different in Peru, very different in Argentina. Look, my wife, who's from Venezuela, her food is nothing like the Peruvian food. As a matter of fact, she loves Peruvian food. She goes, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that the spices are so good. The variety's phenomenal." Her family now is constantly eating Peruvian food thanks to me.
Yeah. But you see what I'm saying though, is that it's not it doesn't even become a race thing. It becomes a color thing, which is really it's like I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it, because with race, or racism at least, I can understand the concept. You know, like that concept, I can understand how, because it's basically this person feels like they're superior to this person because of the way they were born. You know, like they think this other race is inferior. Okay, I can understand that. I've seen people with inferiority complex or superiority complexes before over a myriad of different things. So if it's over what race they were born, I can compute that in my brain. But with colorism, I'm just like, how do you figure the color is superior? Like it really is bizarre to me. And like, that's really what it comes down to. So yeah, with the Cleopatra thing, and that's where the backlash is coming from, because now it's not even a race thing where, because you're actually pissing off the actual race. You know, I saw a lot of Greek people real upset.
Yeah, even Egyptians.
You see that?
Even Egyptians were upset, so much so that a group of Egyptians
too. Yeah.
A group of Egyptians. So my child,
because that's their story. That's their story.
Correct.
Just like we have the Civil War and stuff.
Correct.
You know, that's their story.
Correct. As a matter of fact, a group of Egyptians are actually suing Netflix for this incorrect portrayal, because they called it.
They win.
Yeah, I mean too. They called it a semi-document or documentary. So the fact that it has the word documentary in there, now you're trying to make it seem like it's real. It's true. It's not fictional, right? So this group of Egyptians have openly said that they're going to. I don't know if they actually filed the paperwork or not, but that's what I last heard. I haven't heard anything after that. But to your point, man, let me tell you something. This to me proves that it's racism. And we can go by skin color as far as race, right? That's what I mean by that, right? To me, at least, I can be balanced and level-headed, right, or consistent. I think the actress or actors should look like the source material. So if it's a black person, it should be a black person. If it's a white person, it should be a white person. In this case, it is a brown-skinned native. I would like to see a brown-skinned actress. I don't care that she has to be Hawaiian. I just care, does she look like she's Hawaiian? Like, you know, she could be from I don't know, Philip from the Philippines for all I care. But does she look like the person? Does she look like the source material? These people are flip flopping every single story. They have zero consistency. It's all double standards to them.
Right. Because if you were to cast any character, I mean, they were fine with the Little Mermaid being black, but you know, yeah, if you were to cast any character that was traditionally black as a white character, like if we had Ryan Gosling play the Black Panther, you know, I don't think they'd be okay with that.
Sign me up for that. Just because, you know, you just want to stick it to these people. I personally wouldn't agree with it. Like, in all reality, I personally would not agree with it.
No, I agree with you. I want it to look like the source material. So like I would be saying, I saw somebody on Twitter, I think it was Melanie Mack, she like summed it up perfectly where she said, look, I actually want my characters to look like the source material, much like you just said. She said, I want my character to look like the source material, and I would have preferred to them been darker for the source material. However, you can't say that you want like the race or whatever and get it and then still complain about the color, because now it's like double standards and everything.
Yep.
So it's pretty much what you just said. I've seen a lot of people mirror that same sentiment. I myself feel the same way where, yeah, I would want, just like when that Titans show came out, it was like years ago on the CW, and it, you know, Teen Titans, it, you know, Robin, Beast Boy, and Starfire. And Starfire is orange, like Donald Trump orange, you know?
Oh yeah.
And they casted a black girl. And it's just like, unless you're gonna paint her orange, like it's not gonna work.
Correct.
Like a white or an Asian, basically anybody fair skinned that can tan a little bit to get like that orange, that, like I said, that Donald Trump kind of orange hue to their skin, or you could even do a spray tan on them and they would look just like Starfire. I've seen enough cosplays to know that there are girls that can get that exact skin tone of the cartoon.
Yeah.
But they're not black. You know,
listen, it could have been a white person and they just left them white. That wouldn't have worked for me because Starfire's skin is not white.
Exactly. She would have looked weird. She would have looked really weird if she was just like a white chick.
So let's continue going forward with box office failures. Now we've gone from, you know, streaming services like Disney, and we talked about some of their stuff, but let's move on over to specifically some of the movies that are coming out of, you know, WB for DC, and then you know, obviously Marvel, right? So one of the most recent ones, and we've touched on this before, Shazam, like there are people that were arguing it's not a failure, it's going to be great, it's going to be so on and so forth. And surprisingly, and I haven't seen the movie because, like you, I've boycotted everything that promotes racism towards white people. Mind you, I'm not white, I'm Hispanic, but you think my skin color makes a difference to the left? No. But I wouldn't openly support racism towards anybody, period. So why would I be okay with it being, you know, white people? And then number two, obviously with what we mentioned, the whole, you know, making men look stupid and being this sexism towards me. I'm just boycotting all that stuff. I'm not going to give my money to a company that's going to keep insulting me, right? So right. I haven't seen this film. I don't know how bad it is. Some people liked it, but the numbers speak for themselves. Look, it says right here, after its second weekend release, Shazam the Fury grossed 102.4 with a 46.3 million from the US and 56.1 million overseas, where it's been released in most major market. It might have crossed 100 million, but it'll be unlikely to get to 200 million in the US. Second weekend amassed only 9.7 million. I remember opening weekend was like 30 million compared to 35 projected, and like the first one was like 53 million. I read in a different article. So this movie definitely did bomb. You can't argue it.
Oh, why, definitely.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah. Well, I mean, all right. So, okay. So with Shazam 2, there was a couple of things, because normally you can't really, you know, we would say, oh, you know, there's some woke stuff going on. But you can't really attribute it to that. With this one, I feel like there was actually some stuff going on behind the scenes. It wasn't marketed very well. Now the movie itself, I didn't actually see it, but I heard it was pretty lackluster. And there was something I had heard. I saw actually Zachary Levi, the guy who plays Shazam, was having some words to say about Dwayne the Rock Johnson on his Instagram, I believe, where he was talking about how Dwayne Johnson had been doing some sort of backstage politicking, as they say, sort of throwing his weight around as a big name, to get some things the way he wanted. And one of those was that, because, he had that Black Adam movie. And,
right.
And if you're familiar, Black Adam is a character that relates to Shazam. He's kind of like his main villain,
His
He's like the Magneto to, yeah. He's like the Magneto to the Xavier, to Shazam's Xavier. At the end of that movie, I didn't see that movie either because I'm not consuming any of this stuff, but I hear about it and people tell me about it and stuff. But at the end of that movie, there was some sort of post-credit scene, whatever, where they showed some other heroes showing up or some other characters showing up. And I don't know who the characters were that showed up, but I know that Shazam was not one of them. And according to Zachary Levi, that the actor who plays Shazam, that was The Rock's by his request. Like, he did not want Shazam to show up, specifically said no, like vetoed it so that he wouldn't show up, because he wanted the DC cinematic universe to sort of start, because they've been in like this weird like limbo for a while because everything keeps flubbing whenever they put out a movie out. So The Rock was like, we'll center the DC cinematic universe going forward around me or my character Black Adam and Superman, because at the time this was still when the talks of Henry Cavill, like, people were wondering, is he still Superman? Is he not? Now we know he's not, but at the time a lot of people were still hopeful that Cavill was going to be Superman. So The Rock said, I want to center the DC around Black Adam and Superman, so don't put Shazam at the end of this movie because then people are going to think he's the main guy. So that would have gotten people more hyped up to go see the Shazam sequel. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I didn't like the fact that the post credit scene it was good in the sense because it was like, yes, Henry Cavill, but I also didn't like it because it's like, wait, why would Superman be listening to what's that lady's name that does that's in charge of Cadmus? Amanda Waller.
I don't even know. I don't know the character's name. I don't know.
Amanda Waller. It's like, why would he be listening to Amanda Waller?
Amanda Waller. Okay. Yeah.
You know what? I personally was looking forward to seeing the three of them on screen battling each other, like in the cartoon, in the comics and in the cartoon movies. But I'll be honest with you, when I found out that they were pushing more of the Alphabet Mafia into this, I don't know how much of it they pushed. Just the fact that I read an article where the director confirmed it, I was like, you know what? I'm not watching it. So I didn't go see it.
Good.
So
Good.
In contrast, now we've got Ant-Man 3, which a lot of people say that it was a failure, and it points it out here. It says, well, not a failure, but a disappointment at 464 million. Right at the end of its run. I don't know what the budget was. I think the budget was pretty high. And then when you start adding like advertising and all that stuff in there, supposedly it lost. I don't know. I don't have anything to confirm that. But this was another movie that I just didn't want to go watch. Again, you've got Ant-Man. You've got a movie of Ant-Man, but it's not really the superhero. Right? We the Wasp is the kick butt person here. We know that, right? So he's just another goofball, right?
Yeah. And the thing about that movie is, another one I didn't see, but I had heard a line of dialogue was in the movie that was praising socialism.
Yes, I heard about that. About the ants.
It was like in regards to the ants, and how they work as a colony. And so that was enough for me. I was already disinterested because I checked out after Endgame. So I probably wasn't going to see it in the first place, even though I did enjoy the first Ant-Man movie. I never even saw the second one. But this one, I just was like, yeah, it's probably going to be bad. And then when I heard about that dialogue, it kind of cemented it for me. And I think this one, whereas Shazam 2 had some more behind the scenes, like, drama type, ego politics. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp was a result of woke go broke, like they're not, and again, it made money. I don't know if it made a profit. Because I don't know what the budget was and the marketing and all that.
I think 250 was the budget. I think the budget was 250.
Well, if it only made 400 something and it didn't make a profit, it lost money then. Because if the budget was 250, it would have had to make over 500 million to even make a profit. Because you double the budget for marketing and you add another 70% for or I'm sorry, 30% for the theaters take.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that means it lost money. So, that's the thing is, it's a result of putting woke stuff in ahead of your storytelling, taking the main character and sidelining him for the girl bosses. And, it's bland. It's tired. People, that's the thing too. I think people, obviously we've been talking about people getting tired of it, but I think the people making this stuff don't really realize how tired people are of it. I think they underestimate the fatigue people are having.
I think you're absolutely right. Now, to be quite frank, that I did hear that line. That line didn't turn me off if it would have been said by a villain, but because it was said by Michael Douglas's character and it was promoting it, I was like, yeah, no, that's all I need to say no to that. Mm-hmm. So going on, and this came out a couple of weeks ago, that Buzz Lightyear lost like about 100 million.
Wow, yeah, I heard it lost a lot. I know it was over like 60 or 70 million.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Right here.
Over
over 100 million. Disney loses over 100 million in the Lightyear, and we it's the same thing. It's the same MO, right? We're talking about the Alphabet Mafia, like you so comically put it, right? They injected something that didn't need to be put in there. I liked Buzz Lightyear's Toy Story. Their first mistake was not bringing back Tim Allen because obviously he's a conservative, right? And then the second thing is that they wanted to push this agenda. So, gosh, man, it doesn't make sense to me from a business model. You know what I mean?
Right.
So in addition to Buzz Lightyear, it was also that other weird movie, Strange World, also lost over 100 million. So you have two movies that came out last year that cost you over 200. I think it was closer to 225 or 250 million combined. That's a lot of money. I mean, it might be a drop in the bucket for Disney. I get it. But I thought they were in the business of making money, not losing money.
Oh, yeah. No, that's it. It's significant for any business, but Disney, I think their focus is on pushing the message right now, so they just take those losses and they just keep going.
It's ridiculous. Now, in contrast, we've got some, and we talked about this. We did a video before on, the Super Mario Brother movie, which made over $1 billion worldwide. I think it crossed like 1.32 Sundays ago. Mm-hmm. This movie was family friendly. It was nothing but beautiful colors, great animation, simplistic storytelling, nothing woke in it. You can make an argument if you really take the fine comb and go through it, but there was nothing overtly obvious. There was nothing inappropriate, right? As far as identity politics. So I found it refreshing. I loved it. I purchased it on streaming as soon as it came out. So yeah, over $1 billion. Is that going to send a message to woke Hollywood? Do you think?
Well, this is something that I've actually discussed with some other friends that have made a similar point about whether it's a loss of money for a movie or another movie making good money that's like a competitor. And the thing is that I don't know, kind of like I mentioned earlier about Disney kind of just doing it anyway despite losing money. I don't know that they really care, because to answer your question, yes, it would send a message. Obviously, that would send a message. You would have to be pretty dense to not notice what was going on with these movies losing money and the family-friendly movies without any woke stuff making money. But I just don't think they care, because they have a mission right now. They're not a business anymore. They are something else. They're I don't know what to call it because it's not like a. I mean, it is a cult, but it's more that it's like what do you call like a group that's like militantly trying to go out and brainwash people? Like I don't know what to call
It's a
that.
cult.
But,
That's the best thing I can describe it.
Uh-huh.
A cult is the best way that I could describe it.
Yeah, I guess so. Cult is a cult, but that's what it is that they're not a business. They're not functioning as a business any longer where, profit is the bottom line and that's what it's all about and da 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 da. No, it's functioning now as a cult. It's all about recruitment. It's all about putting the message out there and recruiting, subliminally getting that message in there, kind of brainwash people and recruiting as many as they can. And that's what they see as a return on investment. It's not money. They're not looking at money for return on investment. They're looking for recruitments for people to add to the cult. And so these movies might be losing hundreds of millions, but if they're seeing like merchandise stay steady, which I think a lot of their merchandise actually does stay steady, because that's one thing I'll see people like boycott movies or whatever, but the same people who talk about boycotting the movies will then go and buy the action figures or the t-shirts. You know what I'm saying? Like you're still, so I think what they're seeing is they're seeing this message from the movies and they're going, yeah, they don't like the woke stuff. Oh, well, they're still buying the t-shirts. They're still buying the action figures. We're still getting recruits. Cause that's what would, because I don't even think it's about sending a message anymore. Because we've been sending messages by not. I mean, remember that Han Solo movie was the first Star Wars movie in history to lose money. We've been sending messages.
That's true.
But
That's a good point.
it's just not enough because they still have us. So I don't think it's about sending messages anymore. I think it's about just completely breaking free.
Well,
Because-
Disney makes its revenue. Has been making its revenue due to its parks.
Yeah, and the parks too. Yeah,
That's where they get. It's
And
not
people
even,
still
go there.
right. It's not even the merchandise. It's the theme parks where they earn their revenue. So, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But it's hard to really pinpoint what to do. Number one, we are not, and that's just the honest truth, we are not as well coordinated as the left is when it comes to cancel culture. We kind of like, oh yeah, we'll go on our social media platforms, we'll post whatever, outrage, we'll make a comment. But to your point, we keep on purchasing other items, other goods, other things, right? We're not collectively united the way the left is. And that's even from a political standpoint. If you look at the Democrats stand unified on every single thing, no matter how absurd, like defund the police is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, so we've got some, we just talked about the Mario movie. We've had some other examples of non-woke movies being successful, like Avatar 2, made over $2 billion worldwide. And then Top Gun Maverick are the three biggest hitters within the last, I would say, year, right? It seems like, to your point, are they getting the message? I don't know, but if you want to make money, stop putting woke stuff in there. I mean, it's pretty easy and obvious to me. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, it shouldn't be so difficult.
And to your point, though, there are movies that are coming up that we're going to have to look at to see if they bomb. So, for instance, Disney, you mentioned it before with the remakes, Peter Pan remake, right? Live action.
Uh-huh.
So, what's it called? Peter Pan and Wendy, right?
Right.
So here goes, what we were talking about, swapping out a race, swapping out genders, right? And is doing that going to affect them? When does this movie come out?
I don't know when it comes out, but I saw they got Black Tinkerbell. Wendy's a girl boss now, and it's gonna be terrible.
Look at the rating, 4.1 from IMDb. So
I don't trust any of those sites.
I don't either, but and they're phony. They sometimes they can do it, like they can change the numbers, or they turn off comments, or they turn off the ratio to manipulate the stats. I've seen that happen, but I don't think this is going to be a good one. We've got Peter Pan. We've got obviously the Little Mermaid that's coming up, which is so sad because that was such a nice cartoon. I remember when I was a teen, my aunt taking myself and my baby sister at the time to go watch this. I just watched it with my daughter. The other, she's too young to understand it, but I wanted her to see it, just to, again, what it used to be, right? Little Mermaid 2023 movie. So we've got that can potentially look at that. I don't agree with it. I just don't. Again, it's not that the girl's ugly. It's not that I'm racist or anything like that, because that's their default. It's just that it's not source material. Again, I wouldn't want to see a white Black Panther.